Mate, for us here. So, final number one for DD2 Masters here at Circuito Internacional de Karting Campillos. It's been a very good weekend after recovering from a significant injury at the Grand Finals in Sano last year for Slavomir Moransky from 46 team, who lines up on pole position. Alongside him will be Piquet's Competition's French hotshot, that is Rudy Champion, who lines up alongside the Polish driver on row one. Andreas Schindler from RS Competition is on row number two. On the inside on third place, alongside him will be France's Bruno dos Santos in the 503. Marco Winkler running on the Sodi Kart chassis representing Germany on the number 566 will be on the inside of row number three, and alongside him 14-time Grand Finals competitor for Team Belgium and also a DD2 Masters and Max Masters champion in the Grand Finals, Christophe Adams from Belgium, number 555, will be alongside him on row number three. Jan Carlson on the 507, who's running with KH Racing on the Birol chassis, will be on the inside of row number four. Alongside will be Ido Adrisani, who is actually a non-starter. Also, we've got Konrad Bayer, who I think has decided to give up the Ghost as a part of his ribs, so we'll be down to 14 competitors. So we'll have Karl Klebort, also known as De Bakker, in his native Belgium, based out of Flanders region. He starts P8. Franck Laverne on the Sodi chassis representing France will be on 9th place in the 536. The 502 of our 42 competitions, Klaus Barnett, running on the Kart Republic chassis representing Germany, will start on 10th position. On the OTK chassis from the Netherlands, Frederik Bakert in the 553. We'll have Tanju Yildiz from Germany, the 572, on the Cosmic chassis on 12th position. Rodrigo Pinilos on the Mach 1 chassis, representing Kartschmied.de and also his nation of Germany, will be in 13th ahead of Birol Baltics, Maxim Shaposhikov from Russia. 14 minutes on the clock. Red lights on the starting gantry. They go out and we go racing in DD2 Masters for their first final of the Rotax Max Challenge Winter Cup. Great pickup there by Sarah Moore as they hurtle their way into turn one for the first time. So up the hill they go. And already we've had a change. Andreas Schindler's got past Rudy Champion for second position. And right behind them looks to be Bruno dos Santos. Marco Winkler looks to be in 5th position at the minute. And just behind will be Christophe Adams as they come down the hill for the first time. And just behind them, you've got Jan Carlson, Franck Laverne and Karl Klebort. So Klebort lost out of position at the start, but it's closing on the Frenchman, heading down, well, it looks like Karl Klebort's going to try and go up the inside as 507 goes a bit wide and slows. And that is Jan Carlson. Jan Carlson has dropped all the way back to the penultimate position. So was there an issue? Was there an issue? So that's now changed the race a little bit more, because now it's starting to concertina a little bit from second position from Andreas Schindler, who's got Rudy Champion, Bruno dos Santos, Marco Winkler, Christophe Adams, Franck Laverne, Karl Klebort, Klaus Barnett and Frederik Bakert, who round out the top 10. As also Rodrigo Pinilos is rounding in 13th position. As now that's the 507 of Jan Carlson pulling into the pits. Now down to 13 competitors. But the battle is waging on from what is going to be from second onwards, because Slavomir Moransky had a whopping 1 second lead after lap number one here. But he's got Rudy Champion and also Bruno dos Santos. Then it is Marco Winkler, Christophe Adams. And the drivers in this particular field, minimum age that you're able to enter, and I would actually be eligible for this category. Minimum requirement is 32 years of age, and I'm 10 years above that. So if you put me in a Rotax kart, I'd be in a DD2 Masters category. I probably wouldn't fare very well either. I need to lose a bit more success ballast, unfortunately. I've just seen that the 536 of Franck Levin has dropped down behind Carl Klebort. So Klebort, who's not just a very good baker, but he's also blooming fast behind the wheel of a cart, which put him to being the BNL Karting Series DD2 Masters Champion. I think also the Belgian Max Challenge, if I remember correctly, because now Christophe and Carl are running line astern in their Team Belgium race suits. So you can see a bit of Belgian flair, and you've got a little bit of a reverse on that, thanks to Rudy Champion with his PKS Competition race overalls. So already, and seeing quite a few, there's been a couple more entries for the opening round of the Euro Trophy at Genk in just 48 days' time, 6 weeks from now, where I think we've got possibly in the region of nigh on 40 competitors over 6 classes. And we will have some further developing news in the coming days about the race weekend format in due course. So Moransky has a lead over Andreas Schindler from Germany by about 2.2 seconds. And DD2 Masters, if you're first overall, you get a free entry for the season for Rotax Max Challenge Euro Trophy for all 4 rounds, starting April 10th at Karting Genk, then moving to Adria on the 29th of May before we head to Paul Fletcher International just outside of Grantham in Lincolnshire on the 10th of July before the Pro Kart Raceland Circuit in Wackersdorf in Germany hosts the final round from September 4th to 6th. As now Christophe Adams is being caught by Carl Klebort as they head into turn 1. Klebort is not that far adrift from Christophe Adams. These two have been battling away before, and it's now emigrated back over to the Euro Trophy Winter Cup as Rudy Champion trying to close up on Andreas Schindler. 9 minutes and 19 seconds to go, plus 1 additional lap. As there's a nice little battle coming down the hill a little bit further down the order. Looks to be, I think possibly, that could be, that's Tanyu Yildiz at the back of that, so that will be Maxim Shaposhnikov from Russia, who's running with Burlat Baltics on the Burlat chassis. As Moransky last time around had a 2.687 second advantage over Andreas Schindler. Gap between Schindler and Champion, who's in 3rd at the moment, was just over 3.5 tenths of a second. It's now 4.1 tenths, and here goes Carl Klebort up the inside of Christophe Adams. Nice work by the Bouvin Power driver, part of the same stable as Zander Przyblak, who's opened his scoring banks in the finals with 2 wins, a pole position in the qualifying heat stages, and then winning the first race in DD2. So Jan Carlsen confirmed as a retirement, unfortunately, with Ido Adrisani and both Conrad Bayer. I think they won't be partaking in the second final later on this afternoon, which will close out the action here at Karting Campillos. And that will be at 15:25 local time. Just another reminder for the general paddock, in just under 15 minutes time, we will have the group photograph down on the start-finish line at 1:15 this afternoon. That's all 200 drivers with their race suits on, and you must bring your race helmets with you as Tanyu Yildiz gets a position and gets past Shaposhnikov for what is 11th on the road. And I think yesterday Yildiz got a 9th place finish in, I think it was the last heat yesterday afternoon. So Carl Klebort will now start to chase after Marco Winkler. So that's for P5. He's about 8 tenths of a second adrift, but Winkler was set his personal best to 64.268 on that last tour. So the leader himself, Slavomir Moransky, when you're not talking about the leader sometimes, he's doing a pretty good job. He's got a gap of what's going to be, I think, over 3.5 seconds. It was 3.3 exactly last time around. 3.5 as Andreas Schindler sets his best lap time of the race. A 1 minute 3.910, but Slavomir Moransky has done the best lap of anybody on a 1 minute 3.579. He just put in a 1 minute 3.687. As Rudy Champion was nearly a tenth off of Schindler on that particular occasion, on that particular lap. So we've gone well past the halfway point. We're into the last 5 minutes and 45 seconds plus an additional lap, and a great battle here as Shaposhnikov and Tanju Yildiz still battling away for 11 points. So place the points in 11th position, which will be 4 points to their credit, whereas Slavomir Moransky is trying to be on course for he's done a maximum score so far. He was pole position, both heat victories, put him at the top of the standings, and he's definitely doing that right now. As Tanju Yildiz, he might be old in terms of age, but he's definitely got a youthful exuberance about him as he's still hunting down Maxim Shaposhnikov from Russia. That's a great battle for 11th and 12th as they go up the hill, through the left at turn 4, into the left at turn 5, down the dip into the right at 6, now into 7, up the top of the crest of the hill they go, down the hill towards turn 9. Yildiz in the slipstream, doing a fantastic job as the driver. Normally runs with FM Racing as they try and hurtle their way through turn 11 down to turn 12. Yildiz not having an opportunity quite yet as Moransky now comes across the start-finish line to start lap number 10. So we go into lap, so that's 9 laps completed. Schindler in second, Champion still in third, but is closing. He closed that by nearly, well, about a quarter of a second as Yildiz and Shaposhnikov, who are 12th and 11th respectively, now come out of the final corner. On to the start-finish straight, across the finish line they go to complete their 9th lap here so far. Rodrigo Pinilos, I think, has just crossed the line, currently in 13th place. So we've had Jan Carlsen, the only DD2 Masters retirement in this race. Ido Adrisani and Konrad Bayer, unfortunately not starting, as Champion looks to be closing ever closer still. So Schindler might not be out of the woods quite yet. He's got a chance to try and keep it defensive as we go into 3 minutes and 35 seconds plus an additional lap left to go. Another reminder, this is a 10-minute warning for all drivers, apart from those on the circuit. You need to be down at the start-finish line at 1:15 in about 10 minutes' time on the start-finish line with your race suits on and with your race helmets, please, for the official group photo for the Winter Cup. As now, again, just keeping an eye, Schindler looks to have responded. He's gone nearly a tenth of a second quicker than Rudy Champion and sets his best lap of the race in the process, but Slavomir Moransky is treating this like a glorified qualifying session. A 1 minute 3 from a 1 minute 3.516 as the 46 team driver. Now, for those who follow social media quite a bit, 46 team had a devastating fire in one of their trailers, which lost them a lot of equipment. But to see the team come back, and then to see Slavomir, more importantly, come back from what can be some very, very demotivating events. I mean, when a driver's injured, the first thing they want to do is get back in the car as soon as possible. And Slavomir is just calmly just controlling proceedings like it was absolutely nothing as Rudy Champion now in the slipstream of Andreas Schindler going down the main straightaway. He's bump drafting the German going into turn 1, up the hill, slightly bumpy there, going into the right at 2, into the left at 3, now into the left at 4, and then the last part of the triple left-hander, down the dip they go out of 5, into the right at 6, now into 7, up the hill to the crest, the top part of the circuit through 8, down the first part of the descent, down the hill towards the latter part of the circuit through the right-hand sweeper at 9, braking hard, going into 10, touching the apex, trying to rotate the kart through turn number 11. Down the short blast towards turn 12. And then it's exit the corner, put down the power, sweep through turn 13, explode on the throttle, coming out of the corner to go onto the back straightaway, down towards turns 15 and 16. Schindler's still got the measure of Piquet's Competitions Rudy Champion in the minute, as we have just under 1 minute and 20 seconds plus an additional lap left to go. Champion not so close this time as they go across the start-finish line with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. Bruno dos Santos, a bit of a lonely drive for the Frenchman in 4th place, but still is ahead of Marco Winkler. And he's got Karl Klebert not that far adrift right now, probably about 6 kart lengths, which equates to around 0.4 of a second. Karl Klebert is definitely doing his best, as is Rudy Champion, who's still trying to close down on Andreas Schindler. So Schindler has kept ahead at the moment, but Champion looks a bit better, a bit deeper on the braking there through turns 10 and 11. As they go into 12, Karl Klebert still has got Marco Winkler on the Sodi chassis on the 566 representing Germany. Christoph Adams, apparently by his t-shirt yesterday, the man, the legend. Well, he is a legend in terms of Rotax appearances as Rudy Champion tries to go up the inside of Andreas Schindler through turn 16. But Schindler quickly closes off the door and doesn't let the Frenchman have a chance to get by. So we are now on the penultimate lap as the timer expires as Slavomir Moransky goes up through turn 5. That's it, time's up. We have this plus an additional lap left to go. And realistically, Schindler is just having to hold on for about a lap and a half now as they go down the hill into turn 9. Karl Klebert still trying to catch up with Marco Winkler, but it might be a bit much of a tall ask as we come towards the conclusion of the first bit of action here for the Rotax Max Challenge Winter Cup. Champion still trying to do his best and try and keep on level peggings with Schindler. If he gets a good run and gets a good tow, but he's not, I don't think he's close enough. I think he's a bit far adrift, really, to be honest, but he manages to go a bit deeper on the brakes to close the gap on Schindler. Moransky now gets the final lap board, and now so will both Schindler and Champion get the same. But then in the meantime, Bruno dos Santos in 4th, but Karl Klebert has been on a mission. He's about a kart length and a half, and he's closing on Marco Winkler going into turn 1. Up the hill they go. He's closing even quicker through turns 2 and 3. Great work by the Belgian based out of Flanders. The Flanders region in Belgium. Very, very nice guy indeed. And they do say the quiet ones are always the ones you've got to watch out for. And Karl Klebert definitely is that kind of individual. Very soft-spoken, very well-mannered. Great guy to get along with. But always entertaining when I see him. Always entertained whenever I see him race. As he hasn't got long to go because Slavomir Moransky comes through into turn 15 and the right-hander at 16 for the final time. It's a perfect score so far for the 561, the 2018 DD2 Masters Euro Trophy champion from 46 team. Slavomir Moransky takes the win and Rudy Champion has done it. He's got past Andreas Schindler, probably through turn 16 that was, and he gets past to take second at the flag by just 0.4 of a second from Andreas Schindler. Bruno dos Santos takes 4th. And Christoph Adams has shown up in 6th position. So there's been a bit of a development with Marco Winkler as there are yellow flags. So there must have been a slight coming together between the pair of them. So Karl Klebert was on for a 5th place finish, and that has ended up in the hands of Christoph Adams. Frank Laverne in 6th, Frederick Bakert in 7th, Klaus Parnett in 8th, Marco Winkler and Karl Klebert round out the top 10, with Shaposhnikov from Russia getting the better of Tanju Yildiz from Germany to take 11th, with Rodrigo Pinilos rounding out the 13 that finished. Unfortunately, with Jan Carlsen parking it quite early on in the race, pretty much on the first lap after the rolling start went lights out. Idor Adrisani and Konrad Bayer unfortunately did not start the race.